What is that I hear? Custom sounds? Let's see how to add those to our mod. Alright, we find ourselves back in IntelliJ once more, and in this tutorial we're going to add custom sounds to our mod, which actually is a very straightforward process and fairly easy. I think the hardest thing that you will actually experience is that it needs to be an OGG file. So the sound that you have actually needs to be an OGG file. Apart from that, the code is actually very, very easy. So first of all, we're going to go into our util package, because that's where the ModSoundEvents class is going to go. So ModSoundEvents. And this class will have a couple of things that we have seen before. So the first thing is going to be a public static final deferred register of type sound_event, and this is going to be called sound_events, and this is equal to deferred register.create forge registries.sound_events and then tutorial mod.modID. And whether it is a deferred register, there is a public static void register method with an event bus called event bus, and then sound_events register with the event bus. And that register method is of course called in the tutorial mod class right beneath the mod recipe types, so mod sound_events.register event bus. Right, we'll actually create a sort of helper method right here, so private static registry object of type sound_event. Make sure that this is sound_event and not sound_events, that's very important, and we're going to call this the register sound_event method, and then with a string parameter called a name. And this is going to do return sound_events.register name and then a supplier of a new sound event. And then it's going to take a new resource location, tutorial mod.modID name, because usually the name that you want to register here should be the same name that the file has. Therefore, we can make it a little bit easier by simply using the register sound event method instead of actually registering it in line. So now a new sound event here, so public static final registry object of type sound event. We're going to call this the small explosion, and this is going to be equal to register sound event with small explosion. And that's basically it. Now, of course, we still need to add the sound file as well as one JSON file, and then we're gonna try to play this when we right click a block. So inside of our tutorial mod folder in the assets folder, we want to create a new file called Sounds.json. So very important that this is sounds plural, and I'm going to copy over the contents, so those are of course available for you. Basically, this is how it looks. So you have a normal JSON object, and then each one of the sounds that you put in, so for example, if we had a big explosion here, you would simply add those, so a comma here, and then add multiple ones. This is going to be the name that you have defined. This is the sound. This is the subtitle that is being shown when the sound plays, when you have the sounds on the screen. So you will need this. Otherwise, it won't work. I'm not quite sure. The sounds JSON seems like a little bit weird to me as a JSON file, but whatever it might be, this is where it has to go. And then in the assets folder, we also want to create a new directory called sounds, once again plural, and in there our file goes. So I'm simply going to copy this over. This is of course also available for you for download. This is the small_explosion.ogg. Like I said, this needs to be an OGG file, otherwise it will not work. There are plenty of ways that you can convert, I don't know, WAV files or MP3 files to OGG. You're just gonna have to search a little bit on Google, but I'm actually fairly certain that there's gonna be a lot of results there that are going to get you what you need. And yeah, now the actual sound is in game, and what we're gonna do is we're simply going to go to our Firestone block, and then when I right click it right here with the main hand, I'm just going to play the sound, worldin.playSound with null for the player at this position with the mod sound_events.small explosion with sound category.blocks, and then just 1 and 1. Small explosion.get, of course. There you go. Now, the reason I put in the null for the player is because we are on the server here, and when I call the play sound method on the server, if you pass in a player, it's not going to work. We're not going to go into crazy detail with that. Yeah, you just have to play around with this and be cognizant on what thread you are on when you actually call the play sound method. But let's see if it works. Alright, we found ourselves back in Minecraft, and as you can see, the Firestone block already is set down. If I right click it, there you go. So the sound actually does play. As you can see, it's actually fairly easy to add your own custom sounds to Minecraft. Right, and that would be it for this tutorial right here. I hope you found this useful and you learned something new. If you did, I would of course appreciate a like, and I will see you in the next tutorial. So yeah.